And I see we have Gary and Scott from Community Services just popped on. And I see Hewitt, our disaster preparedness coordinator. Hi, Hewitt. Happy Friday. We're just waiting for folks to get joined on here. Thanks for joining us. And I see Christy Schaefer has joined us as well. Good morning, Christy. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. And happy Friday, Zach. Good morning, Zach. John's executive assistant. Mr. John Decker is on a well-deserved vacation today, so he will not be joining us, but we'll get started in just a couple minutes. And good morning, Michelle Johnson, our Director of Client Services has joined us. Good morning, Carly, our Employment Specialist is also on with us. We'll get started about 11:03. And Shirley, good morning, Shirley, from Community Services. And good morning, Ms. Tracy Brown, one of our Associate Directors.
Good morning.
We're going to give folks about 1 more minute, Ms. Tracy.
Okay. I used to be able to see everybody, and now I only see like 6 people. Is there a reason why?
On the top right, you can go to your layout. I'm not sure, but you might be able to change it so you can change your layout. It's on the top right of the screen.
Yeah, it says grid, but my grid is huge and it only gives me 6 people.
Oh, well, I'll tell you how many folks we have on so far.
I just like to see faces.
I know, it's nice to see the faces. We have 54 folks on right now.
Oh,
and I know, Tracy, 6. Mine did that the other day and I couldn't figure out how to change it. So I just did the speaker with the film strip on the top. But because I couldn't figure it out.
So there's the layout button. This is Kelsey Rainey, CSS
Right.
Specialist. There's a layout button in that top right corner, and then there's a magnifying glass with a plus and a minus. If you reduce it to the smallest size, decrease video size, it will change the size of the video. So you should be able to see more people.
Mine is at the smallest.
Interesting, because I can see 3, 4, 5. I can probably see about 30, 40 people on my screen.
I used
Mine
to be
is
able
at
to
the
do
mine's
that.
way down too, and it's only showing 6 people.
Well, I'm sorry. I tried to help.
If you go into
Thank
the
you,
meeting,
Kelsey.
Sorry, this is Catherine. If you go into the meeting settings and select layout, you can also select the maximum number of videos to show in grid view.
Oh, okay.
So it might need to be edited there.
Much.
Oh,
okay.
Maybe. Okay.
Tracy, you'll have to let us know if that's successful. So good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Jordan Eller, and I'm one of our community services managers here. We also have Miss Jean Onesi, one of our community services managers. Like I mentioned before, John Decker is on vacation today. So we'll be hosting you. And we have a few different agenda items, but we are excited. Tracy Brown, our associate, one of our associate directors, is here, and she has a team with her, and we're going to be talking about some self-determination program and introducing some of our new staff. So I will turn it over to Miss Tracy.
Great, thanks. And being that I can only see 6 of you, I will just hope that the 3 participant choice specialists are here. They said they would be. So I'm going to kind of introduce you. We have, with the start of the self-determination program opening up for everyone, all clients who might want to choose to go in there, 3 or over. We were tasked with hiring 3 participant choice specialists, and they are I would say since we hired them at the beginning of this year, their main role has been working with self-determination program, but they also are involved in supporting clients and service coordinators with participant-directed services as well. So I don't want to forget that. I just know that with SDP coming underway, kind of full force, that's been their focus. So I'll tell you. There are three of them: Cindy Johnson, Janet Roberts, and Samantha Carr. And since coming on board, they have really just kind of taken charge. They've developed a lot of internal processes which have helped support the path to going into SDP. You know, we found that there were some barriers in certain areas. They came in, they made some adjustments, some changes to help that be a little bit smoother. They've also developed tools for our staff that they're able to utilize during the onboarding process into SDP, which have been extremely helpful. They also do ongoing trainings, not just, they'll kind of share some information today, a small training, but they also have been going to our unit meetings. Managers have been scheduling them to come in and talk to service coordinators during unit meetings. They also every Thursday they run kind of an open Q&A as well as staffing sort of committee meeting. That's every Thursday afternoon. And they also have been doing a ton of one-on-one meetings with service coordinators and clients, and just attending any of the SDP transitional meetings that might need a little more input or information about SDP process, and kind of give that extra support to the service coordinators. So the projects and everything that they have worked on have just been invaluable to our regional center. So that being said, I will turn it over to Cindy, Janet, and Samantha.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for inviting us, letting us be here. So Tracy gave a good overview of what we do. We do sit in on consult meetings a lot. We're at any stage of the process, any part that people need us, could be just to prepare for a planning team meeting, joining a planning team meeting, and discussing it and troubleshooting if needed. And also budgets. We also participate as part of the accounting team, as part of the SDP team, to also complete budgets for self-determination. Samantha or Janet, did you want to?
Yeah, so as I said, that we go to planning team meetings, we're just able to reach out to families and explain self-determination and what all it entails, and help them in any questions they have along the way. How to complete steps like finding a financial management service, finding IFs, and we have created a lot of internal useful documents for our service coordinators to refer to and be able to share with families. And we have been able to go to different unit meetings, like Tracy said, and we've been able to reach a lot of service coordinators in that way, as well as attending new hire orientation and being able to jumpstart on educating on self-determination from the get-go.
We actually have a PowerPoint that we created for this morning.
All right.
Are you able to share it, Samantha?
No, I don't think we need to share it. Tracy did a really good job of kind of going over what we do.
Okay.
When she was hitting, I was like, oh, she's hitting all of our bullets. I do just want to add that, since we've come on, I feel like it's been a great way to kind of see that SDP has been fairly new and a lot of changes going on, and it feels good to be part of a kind of a new team to kind of form it and cement of what we're going to be doing, what it should look like, kind of even working with the ADs to create and collaborate on, SDP and SDP internal procedures. And Tracy talked on a lot of what we already do. So it's been really great. And if you guys have any questions, we're open to that. We weren't sure if you guys were looking for like us to talk more about SDP, which I'm sure we all could do. just because we really like the program. So if you guys have any questions,
I thought you were going to say because we really like, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say because we also really like to talk. So we all are really well matched for this role because we do a lot of presenting, but
yes, and we do like to talk. Yes.
I think one of the things that we talked about in regards to I shared with Samantha and Cindy and Janet that they would be presenting to providers and vendors, and so that's kind of a new realm for them. They're primarily in the last 6-7 months have been focused on processes within our regional center, processes to support service coordinators. And so for me, one of the things that I wanted to ask today is if there are areas that our participant choice specialists should be looking at in regards to supporting providers, or can they, if you have questions about the process, if you have questions about maybe your role. I know we haven't, like sometimes with planning teams under traditional, oftentimes providers are included in the meetings, whether it's an ISP meeting and there's more, I don't know if collaboration is a word because I think there's always collaboration, but there's more inclusion of providers. With SDP, oftentimes that's separate from the service coordinator because self-determination participants are accessing providers both in their community, but potentially vendors from the regional center. And we don't always know which avenue they're going to go. That's their choice. That's their responsibility to go out and find the providers. And so I guess for me, I was just kind of wondering if there's any questions in regards to, and if not today, I guess I want you all to know that the 3 participant choice specialists are available to answer questions, vendor related or provider related directly. And that's kind of the message I wanted to get out to you, that even though they haven't maybe made themselves as known in the vendor world, because of their focus on the regional center and the service coordinator process, they are available if there are questions from vendors.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And if we can have the 3 ladies go ahead and put their contact information in the chat, that way folks can have that if you think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, so Cindy just put in the chat the SDP questions. There's actually an inbox that all 3 of them monitor, and those questions come from service coordinators, and they, myself, if I need to ask a question. I mean, so those questions are available to everybody.
And you can also use that if you would like to invite us to do a training. Our service coordinators reach out to us for consult requests, and we would like to make that open to you as well if you would like us to do a training.
And I think that's a great idea, kind of to piggyback on that. If you have a group of clients who might be interested in self-determination, but you aren't sure, what information to share, you could always invite a participant choice specialist to come to your program to do a outreach to those specific clients who may have more questions, who maybe aren't quite ready to do the orientation because they don't want to sit through that whole thing, not really knowing much about SDP. But our SDP, our participant choice specialist could come out and even give a little in service to not just your staff, but also maybe a group of clients who might show interest. Oh, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Good to see you here.
And so if anybody has any questions too, we can definitely give a few minutes. If any of you guys have any questions for Tracy or her team or about SDP in general.
Hard to believe there's no questions. It's a new beast.
I know.
I love it. I love SDP, I have to say, but it's definitely a new, it's been open to everybody for a little over a year now, but it's changing and evolving, and I feel like we're getting a real good hold on it. So, but I know it's completely, just a different path than traditional services. So.
Right. And our 3 positions are new all throughout the state of California, each regional center. These positions were created out of a DDS directive. I believe it was last November. So these positions were created to support all phases and interested parties in the process.
Excellent. Do we have any vendors that are currently providing any clients SDP services that are on with us today? Yes. Okay, good, good. Excellent. I see some thumbs up there. Perfect. Good, good. So any other questions or discussions on SDP? Well, as they mentioned, right, there's that email, the email box. If you guys have any questions, that's a great way to get connected with our participant choice specialists. So thank you, ladies, so much for presenting that information. We appreciate it. And thank you for being available to our community members here to answer any questions. I did want to give an opportunity. I know Miss Gino Nessie that you wanted to chat about a survey that was sent out. So I'll let you discuss the survey.
Yes, I don't want to put Rima on the spot, but we were sending a survey out to get an idea from the vendors if they're interested in providing deaf and hard of hearing services to our clients. And I wanted to be sure that you guys received the survey. Has it been sent out? Did you receive it? And if you could just give me an idea. Oh, it should have been sent after our last community coffee with community services. So Andrea, you didn't receive it? Oh, okay.
I'll have to double check, but I don't know.
It looks like there's a couple of people in the chat saying that they didn't read. Okay.
Is there anybody who did receive it?
Yeah, let's reverse the question. No.
Okay. We'll have to get that redistributed, huh, Ms. Jean?
Yeah, we'll have to, we'll see what happened and follow up with that, because I really want to encourage you once we get it out. There's a few questions that'll give us a lot of information and would be very helpful as we're looking at our deaf and hard of hearing specialists working with our clients and families, etc. So sorry that they didn't make it out. Wait, somebody said they did get. Okay, no. So we'll follow up on that. Thank you. That's all I had about that, Jordan.
Oh, that's perfect. And in regards, we did want to just question the group. I know some of you guys participated in the DDS, DSP, right? The direct service provider survey, the workforce survey that went out. And some of you may have done it in time to get the $8,000 bonus reward, whatever you want to call that, for completing the survey. Has anybody received payment of that or heard from the company regarding getting the payment for that? I know at coffee a couple weeks ago, people hadn't received things. So we just wanted to touch base with the group to see if you guys had received any
I was
funds.
just in another meeting with more statewide California folks, and no one has received the survey dollars at this particular point.
Okay.
That I was speaking to for them. So
Thank you, Andrea.
outside
That
of
was super.
Alta too.
Okay, thank you so much. That's helpful. We did just want to remind folks that, and I know Carly is on our employment specialist, but we did just want to remind folks that the DDS employment grant is due the 24th of August. And Carly, if you don't mind putting your contact information in the chat, should they have any questions about the grant. And if anybody has questions right now, you're welcome to pose those. We do have Miss Carly, our employment specialist, on. Does anybody have any questions about the employment grant? And if you go to dds.ca.gov, it's the link to the grant is right there on their homepage.
I have a question. Sorry.
Great.
Andrea West from Alliance. I am working out something to try to do for the grant, and I know a lot of it was kind of like new services, but I'm looking at just training to enhance our current services as far as folks that are, have more needs regarding employment. It does say to sync up with your regional center as well. So should I be talking with Carly of my
Yes.
information about? Okay.
Yeah. So we can schedule a time. I'm pretty booked for the rest of today, but if you want to, I know it's kind of getting close to the 24th, but if you want to schedule a time next week,
Sure, I can
just
shoot
for
you.
just for a quick chat.
I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
And thank you, Carly, for putting your information in the chat. That's great.
Hey, Jordan, this is
Yes,
Jan
ma'am.
again. Rima put the survey in the chat if folks want to grab it for the deaf and hard of hearing. And we'll also follow up with getting it sent out.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. That's great, Rima. Yeah, but we can definitely send it out on our chip mail, right? Again, we can have that resent out.
This is Catherine from Southside Unlimited. I just wanted to comment to Andrea that Marjorie Solomon from the UC Davis Mine Institute is currently working on a grant through this DDS funding that is specifically to provide training on job development and job placement and things like that. And she's looking for agencies to participate in that. So if she hasn't reached out to you yet, Andrea, she'd be a good person to reach out to because she's looking for collaborators.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Catherine. What was her name from?
Marjorie Solomon.
Yeah. Andrea, I can send an email to you and give you her contact info.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the employment grant? Okay, so I know that Hewitt had sent some information to John Decker regarding an event that's going on this weekend for individuals that were affected by the Caldor fire. So Hewitt, I'll share my screen, the flyer that you had sent to John. And then if you don't mind kind of chatting about it and letting folks know.
Yeah, it's not this weekend. I think it's the following weekend. But yeah,
Thank you.
August 21st. This was shared from our local disaster organization. It's organized by a bunch of partners. So if you were affected by the Caldor fire, or if you know anyone that was affected by Caldor fire, there is a priority entry for those who were significantly impacted, losing 50% of their home or the property. And there's a general entry for those who were evacuated because of the fire. So with this resource fair, they're just distributing food, clothing, household goods. There's a list right there. It's at the Pioneer Elementary School. I can put the address on the chat, and I'll also put that form link on there. But yeah, just if you could just share this with those if you know anyone that are affected, or if you were affected, that would be great. And it is on Sunday, the 21st.
Thank you so much, Hewitt. Super important stuff, and I'm glad that they're continuing to support our community members that were affected by that fire. Such tragedy. And then one other quick announcement. I know that John let us know that Michelle Johnson, our Director of Client Services, and some of the ADs will be presenting at the Supported Life Conference. Right, the Supported Life Conference, I believe, is October 13th and 14th of this year, right? And Michelle and the ADs will be presenting on social rec, and John Decker's also going to be presenting on ACRC's, our Housing Development Plan. So those are good things to look forward to. I know the registration to apply to be a presenter just ended this week. So they'll probably be getting the formal schedule all set up, and so you guys can find out in the future. We'll let you know what exact days that Michelle and our team and John will be presenting. But just to let you know, there will be some more info coming on our housing development and our social rec, which is very exciting. And then that's really it for today. I'm not sure if there's anybody else that had any specific agenda items that needed to be discussed. But that's kind of the bulk of the agenda we had for you guys today.
Yeah.
Hey, Jordan, this is Michelle Johnson, and I just earlier this morning we received an email. If there's any licensed providers on the line, I will look for the link. But CCL just scheduled a informational call. It's for August 17th from 1 to 2:30. They're going to be discussing coronavirus and monkeypox. So I'll drop the link in the chat, but that message came out this morning at 9:48.
Oh, thank you so much. That's great, Michelle. Right. But
I don't see any other questions, Jordan, or
I have a couple of questions.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Thanks. So at previous meetings, we talked about adding Taylor Day services and the changes that have been made to Taylor Day. Has there been any feedback or clarification that the regional centers received on how that can be applied? There's previously been discussion about using it as adding it for alternative services instead of program design modification. So I just wanted clarification on that so we know where to direct our efforts.
Yeah, and Jean, I don't know if that's something that you could speak to. I also know that John did have an internal meeting with some of our staff regarding that. I was actually on vacation when that meeting occurred, so I don't know if Shirley has any updates for the group, or Jean, if you do at this time. I apologize, I do not.
yeah, I don't have any updates to that either. I don't know what the internal group, what their plan is or what was decided there.
We're continuing to meet on that. There has not been, I think, nothing definitive decided at this point. I wish I could say there was. If any of my other teammates that are on this call want to share, please feel free. But we will certainly share as soon as we have it all figured out.
Yeah, and we know how vital and important that is for the timelines, Catherine. So I will I'll circle back to John Decker. He returns on Monday, so hopefully we can see what kind of more solid information we could present to you next Friday. But I'll definitely take note that it's continuing to need some direction on that, and I know that we're trying to figure that out as well. So thank you so much for your patience.
Certainly, and I thank you for continuing to look into it. I know we're all still trying to figure stuff out right now.
Yeah.
I think the other question that we had was it was either last week or the week before, in talking about alternative services, the warm transition back to traditional services, and our discussion about keeping alternative purchase orders open even as we're transitioning, so that participants can continue to have choice, especially until we get alternative services written into program designs. And the way that we had understood it is that was acceptable, but no new purchase orders would be issued under alternative services. And the clarification we were looking for is if somebody's purchase order expires and it's just being extended toward the end of the year, is that okay? Or can it not be extended under alternative?
Do you want to respond to that, Michelle, or would you like me to start out?
Sure. Catherine, my best suggestion is for you to communicate with the service coordinator. I think it's okay to extend those POSs as the planning teams are meeting and trying to figure things out, but it is really important to make sure that our service coordinators, the client, and you as the service provider are all on the same page. So again, my recommendation would be connect with those service coordinators, have that discussion. They've been advised to reach out to you as well and the client. Again, we want to make sure that everyone is on the same page when it comes to transitioning from alternative services. So that would be my recommendation.
I would also like to add that to the group is, if it's going to be extended, there needs to be a definite plan around it. Because we don't want to see happen is everything extended but a plan not in place for when it ends at the end of the year. So if there needs to be an active plan for transitioning in that in place in order to extend it. And you guys know what we're trying to avoid is just extending all these purchases through December, and then January 1, there's folks don't know what services they're going to be. They're not clear on where they're supposed to be going in that. And it's really a multi-effort collaboration with our clients and our vendors and the planning teams. So I think what we're trying to avoid is just automatically extending them and not working through the plan by December 31st.
Thank you for that clarification, Jean. That really helps. And we're absolutely doing exactly that. We're still doing our transition plan. Everyone who wants traditional services is having them. We were just wanting to keep the option open until we could figure out if we're adding Taylor Day or addendum to our program design to get those remote services added in so that those continue to be an option, which they wouldn't be if we switched back to traditional services now because we don't have it in our program design yet. So that was our concern, is just to make sure that participants continue to have choices because we're not out of this dang pandemic yet.
I know, and it's getting more and more multi-issued, and we don't know what's going to come first, the program design or the serve. I mean, we really have a lot of coordinating to do with our families and our clients and our vendors and that. So I just want to encourage, I had said at a vendor forum meeting, just for everyone to have grace with each other and patience and really collaborate as a team in really supporting our clients to transition through this process. And just to have really good communication with everyone, I guess the whole team.
I have one last thing and then I promise I'm finished.
No, that's great. That's great. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I know that transportation vendors have just been inundated and are struggling with the same staffing and operations issues as the rest of us. We're starting to see it play out more and are wondering like what is going on in that sector, because we don't, we hear when transportation vendors speak up on their issues, but we're not in the loop on what's going on there and what that trajectory is looking like. And the reason this comes up is because we have a participant who just got a job, but he's not able to secure transportation to start his job. And so we're trying to figure out, are there other resources? What options are there? Like we've established our own Lyft account for emergencies, but is there some way that we could get funded for providing it? Should we add an 880 to provide transportation ourselves in those situations? Like what kind of outside the box things can we consider, or what is coming to address that need?
I oversee transportation and the transportation coordinators. So everything you mentioned is true. We have no idea. With the alternative services going away and traditional services and just trying to set up routes again, and that it is, I don't want to say the word chaos, but there's a lot of balls in the air that are being juggled. So I think and you mentioned something that I didn't even think of, Catherine, if you're a program and you want to add an 880, send a request, a letter of intent or a request into your community services specialist, and they can work with me and my team on looking. That would usually be under Olivia. Her position is still vacant. So if there is an option of you adding an 880, we are in the process of looking at developing a different updated contract for 880, and that may be a good option. The other option is if the client is living at home, and the parent can transport to and from, then the service coordinator can put a request in for that we can use an FMS agency if it's a parent. The rates are still frozen, they're very low, but at least it's a little, would be a little reimbursement. We have a number of, there's a lot of limitations with transportation that unfortunately we're not seeing them going away down the road, especially with the new methodology of how they're going to end up billing at the end of this rate study. So there's a lot of, I know, chatter out there among the transportation coordinators and day programs and that. So there's nothing, there's no concise plan right now. I know the transportation coordinators get at least probably around, I want to say up to 75 new requests for transportation every week. And there's a lot of limitations. And we're not securing rides we're not securing services. There's just a lack of availability. So that's why we really need to work together. And that's why I just keep emphasizing just having patience and really trying to support our clients as a team. And because that's what's going to see, I think, the system through.
Thank you, Jean. That was really helpful feedback. And yeah, we'll look into the 880 just so that we can get something. And that's definitely been another one of our concerns in moving back to traditional services, is that even the folks that we have that want to be back full time, some of them are only being brought to program for, maybe 3 hours, because that's what the transportation vendor can do. So when we move back to traditional billing at an hourly rate, that's a little scary for us.
Please be sure that the service coordinator and the planning team is absolutely aware that they want 5 days a week or 4 days a week, because somewhere along the line we'll need to figure out what the request is and what we're able to do. And right now, I don't think we have a handle on that. It's real. There's difficulty with the transportation providers transitioning over to the 5 days a week right now. And we really need to get a handle on that, because if folks want to, and that's the planning team decision, we really need to figure out how to do that.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Catherine, so much. Great questions, super important topics, right? We're all in this boat together trying to catch our way upstream here. So any other general questions or any other agenda items the group might have? I do just want to remind folks that if you have any questions regarding the rate study, you are always welcome to reach out to your assigned community services specialist. If you're not sure who your assigned community specialist, services specialist is, you can reach out to our office assistant, Christine Hobbs. Zach, would you mind throwing Christine's information in the chat? And if not, I can do that as well. John did want me to update the group just in regards to the joint initiative we have with Valley Mountain Regional Center, right, on trying to look at the workforce needs that Garrett Broadband, Michelle Ramirez, Lori Benalis, Charlotte, our HR director, and John traveled to VMRC to meet with their executive director and their community services director and members of their PAC to keep working on that joint initiative, and that both regional center vendors supported using the HCBS funds to support a hiring initiative. So that plan continues. John, I'm sure will have more updates for us as that initiative and those plannings move forward. So he can provide more updates next week if you guys have any questions regarding that. But for us, those were our agenda items for today. And once again, I'll give a couple minutes in case anybody has any other questions for the group. Let me see if there's, yes, absolutely. And I'll put, in case people need it, I'll put Christine Hobbs' information in the chat. If you're not sure who your assigned community services specialist is, you can reach out to Ms. Hobbs and she will let you know who you can consult with about your rates. All right. And we really appreciate you guys all joining us on this Friday. I hope you all have a very nice weekend.
Too.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stay cool, everybody.
Thank you,
The
Tracy's
temperature's
team.
going up.
Mhm.
Stay
Yep.
cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye.